Hi everyone, today I'll be reacting to What is the Worst Starter Pokemon by Wolfey. I've been recommended a lot of Wolfey content because, well, first of all, he's Mr. VGC. He is Mr. VGC. I actually did manage to watch one of his things live. I do believe it was when he was at Toronto. I think the Toronto Regionals or Toronto Championships. I forget which, not championships. It was one of them things. I was there. So I think that one was the Pear Song Trap, which I managed to watch live, which was kind of neat. So yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, I've watched a couple of his videos before, so might as well watch this one. Because it's about starter Pokemon, or I guess the worst starter Pokemon. I should preface this by, I am very biased towards specifically Gen 3 starters, because that's what I grew up with. I fucking love my Gen 3 starters. Torchic, Mudkip, Trico, I love the entire evolution line. So yeah, that's my bias. I'm gonna go to my react corner now, okay? Okay, let's get started.
Starter Pokemon are some of the most beloved.
Wait, I forgot. Wisp, I forgot one thing. Hi everyone, I'm Maple. I'm Maple. I play Kaizo Ironmon. Kaizo Ironmon Pokemon Challenge, Pokemon Nuzlocke, and Soul Links. Yo, okay, now I go. Now, yeah, we're good. Sorry, Wolfey.
Starter Pokemon are some of the most beloved and memorable in the entire series. I mean, every game literally starts.
I love Fuecoco. Okay, I know I just started with saying, like, I love the Gen 3 starters, but I love how head empty and round Fuecoco is. And I like that they just, like, stuck I don't know, a slice of single craft like cheese on him for like no particular reason. I think it adds charm. I think the cheese adds charm. He's so cute.
Starts with you picking one to be your partner. To make sure these Pokemon feel special, they're across the board pretty good. Some are, perhaps,
Incineroar mention! Incineroar!
A little bit too good. And when they aren't doing so well, Game Freak tends to give them special treatment.
Incineroar is fucking crazy because I played a little bit of VGC. I'm definitely no expert, but I have like a friend that plays VGC a lot, and they offered to coach me one time. The only time I did try it was not during Scarlet and Violet, but during Sword and Shield. It was, I don't remember what season it was, but everyone had either a Kyogre or a Groudon team. That's what I remember. And I chose a very balls-to-the-wall, Gamba-heavy Groudon team that basically had almost no 100 accuracy moves. So I either steamrolled or I got steamrolled, and it was awesome.
Too good. And when they aren't doing so well, Game Freak tends to give them special treatment with Mega Evolution, Gigantamax forms, and regional forms. But not all starter Pokemon have been treated this way. Some are out here begging for scraps, while Charizard stuffs itself silly.
Look at all them Charizards. Yeah, everyone already knows, you know, Charizard favoritism. Well, I like Charizard. I like Charizard. It's like, I don't know, man. Genuine nostalgia. Like, I watched like the original, obviously, Pokemon, like season 1, where Charizard kind of evolved too quickly, became overconfident, that kind of shit. But I would definitely say that I remember Hoenn the best because I think I was a bit too young to remember everything about the, you know, the first couple of seasons of Pokemon, which would involve like Kanto and Johto. But Hoenn is kind of when my brain started forming a bit more, you know?
And that got me thinking. What is the worst starter Pokemon of all time? Before anybody tries to beat me up in an alley for saying that their favorite starter Pokemon sucks, keep in mind that I'm talking strictly about competitive Pokemon here. I love a lot of the Pokemon on this list, but that doesn't stop them from being dog water competitively, okay? Nobody's gonna get mad at me, right? Okay.
People always find a way to get mad at you, okay? But like, yeah, from a competitive standpoint, some Pokemon, well, not all Pokemon are built equal for a competitive standpoint. Like, the moves they're given, their stat spread, all that kind of stuff. I do believe starters have, like, the same BST, like, you know, base stat total. It's just the way they're distributed, the moves that they learn. All of that will contribute to whether or not the Pokemon's actually useful in, like, competitive or in, like, a regular-ass game, too. Like a regular ass playthrough.
Okay, first on our list is Sceptile.
I love Sceptile.
I can already hear the comments yelling at me. Listen, it's not as bad as you think. I'm starting from least bad and moving up. I've selected 5 starter Pokemon that are really bad but not quite the worst, and then I'll share the top 3 worst starter Pokemon of all time. Sceptile is on here because, well, it just isn't very good.
Yeah. Okay, I knew this would be brought up first, but I love grass typing. It really sucks defensively. It has so many weaknesses. Like, I probably can't name them all because, you know, whatever. Weak to fire, weak to ice, weak to bug, weak to flying. They're weak to poison. And I think a lot of those typings have like just really, really good offensive moves. Like, especially fire. Like, coming from a Gen 3 perspective, since that's what my Kaizo Ironmon is in, fire has like a lot of really high like power moves. Like, we have Eruption, we have Heat Wave, we have Flamethrower. It just has amazing moves, and it'll hit you for a lot if you're a grass type.
Hello, it is I, Shmomipo, and I'm here to tell you, subscribe!
The pure grass type Pokemon, it has a number of weaknesses, and there's a bunch of
Yeah.
types that resist it. Sceptile's main selling point is its speed. It's faster than most Pokemon. The problem is it doesn't really have a way to make use of this. Sceptile has the same attack stat as Quaxwell, Marshtomp, and Thwackey. You know,
Aww. I thought he had a better attack
Sceptile
stat.
has the same attack.
Oh, he's a special attacker. I thought he was closer to being mixed, but I don't know, 20 point difference is like, that's not nothing. I thought he was a lot closer to being a mixed attacker. My bad.
Stat as Quaxwell, Marshtomp, and Thwackey. You know, middle stage starter Pokemon. To compensate, it also has less special attack than Haunter. Not Gengar, Haunter. And unlike many grass type Pokemon, it doesn't have the supporting moveset to really mess with your opponent's strategy. It doesn't get Spore or Sleep Powder, either of which would actually make it really threatening. On top of all that, Sceptile is
Yeah, if it doesn't get that, it can't really take advantage of its speed stat, because if you're speedy, then you get the jump on your opponent with either Spore or Sleep Powder. But because it doesn't learn those moves, then oh well.
frail. If it gets hit with
Yeah.
any super effective move, it'll do a Grovyle
Not the mystery dungeon. Oh, I love this game.
impression from Pokemon Mystery Dungeon and Vanish. All starter Pokemon of a type have the same ability. Overgrow for grass, Blaze for fire, and Torrent for water. Their hidden abilities, though, can vary, and these can have a pretty big impact. In Sceptile's case, its hidden ability is some kind of sick joke. It's Unburden, which doubles its speed stat once Sceptile has consumed whatever item it's holding.
That feels a bit underwhelming. Like, I guess if it's like consumed or lost, so berries and herbs, or if someone uses knockoff on you, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, hidden ability, if it's like a item that's not consumable, you're kind of waiting for your opponent to do something, and that's a bit too situational.
While for some Pokemon, doubling their speed is a big deal, speed was the only stat Sceptile didn't have to worry about.
Yeah.
Thanks, Game Freak.
He's
Now,
fast.
Sceptile has gotten buffed over the years. Most recently, it was given the move Shed Tail that, despite being a great move, did nothing to improve Sceptile's viability. The more meaningful buff was the introduction of Mega Sceptile. Now a grass and dragon type, Mega Sceptile was even faster.
I love that Mega Sceptile can just launch his tail. That has nothing to do with like whether or not he's good or bad. I just like that about him. I like that he can just launch it.
A lot more special attack and a massive 10 points to its defense.
Yo!
The only increase to its bulk. On the plus side, it did get the ability Lightning Rod, which actually is a big upgrade. Mega Sceptile is by far the best Sceptile has ever been, which is still, let me check, not very good. Well, you could do some cheeky shenanigans with like Choice Scarf
I didn't know the shiny was blue. Oh. I don't know, I like that color.
Discharge to make it stronger, It was just so frail that using it was a liability. Grass and Dragon both being weak to ice meant even weak moves like Icy Wind were a huge threat, and the addition of 2 new weaknesses in Dragon and Fairy didn't make things any easier. Since you could only Mega Evolve 1 Pokemon per battle, it isn't hard to see why Mega Sceptile wasn't worth using. Speaking of not worth using, let's talk about one of the most hated starter Pokemon of all time, Emboar. As the 3rd firefighting starter in a row, Emboar received a lot of negativity when it released, and its public image did not improve once players started using it. While Infernape and Blaziken look cool and are fast and strong, capable of using their good offensive typing to overwhelm opponents, Emboar is slow and looks, well, goofy. Now, the good thing about being slower is that typically Pokemon that are not so fast tend to be much bulkier to compensate. Emboar seems to have missed the memo on this one. While it does have a lot of HP, its defense and special defense stats are like seeing a band in concert that isn't very good live. They leave a lot to be desired.
Hold up. 65 defense, special defense, and speed. Yeah, well, they did say slow. But I didn't expect the defense and special defense of an Emboar to be like so low. Man, that sucks.
Seeing a band in concert that isn't very good live. They leave a lot to be desired. Emboar is strong, and its hidden ability can make it even stronger. Reckless powers up all moves that have recoil, like Flare Blitz and Wild Charge. While the damage boost is nice, more damage means more recoil damage, making it even harder to keep Emboar alive. Basically, if you want to use Emboar, you need to use the move Trick Room, which lets slow Pokemon move before fast ones. But Emboar actually...
Oh. I thought all starters were like given the exact same base stat total. I think Charizard is 534. Damn, bro. They scammed him like 6 points.
He isn't even slow enough to really take advantage of Trick Room. It's got this awful speed stat where it's slower than anything even average speed, but faster than the slow Pokemon that tend to thrive in Trick Room like Amoonguss. Despite all of Emboar's shortcomings, there is one player who believed in it more than any other. This player used Emboar to win their first event, a regional back in 2011, and then brought Emboar to the World Championships, finishing 6th. Who was this player? Well, by the way, if you've made it this far into the video, just a little
I wonder who it is.
reminder to check and see if you're subscribed. I work really hard on every video I put out, and many videos actually have over 100 hours of work total put into them across me and my team. So if you want to support the channel or see more of my stuff, I'd really appreciate it. If you did just subscribe, the good thing is that you're definitely not going to regret it as I talk about the next Pokemon on our list, Feraligatr. Okay, I do feel like people are going to be mad at me about this one too, but I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you the truth. Feraligatr, more like Garbaligator. Feraligatr is a pure water type Pokemon. Wow, how original. Even though it's not as slow as Emboar, I mean, it's still not very fast. And while its bulk is, well, not great, but at least better than the Pokemon we've talked about thus far, it's somehow super weak. It's a gator, but they didn't give it any attack. Why? The issue with Feraligatr, and this is going to be true with a lot of Pokemon on our list, is that there's nothing that really makes it unique. For example, some of you may know that Feraligatr gets Dragon Dance, but if you want a water type Dragon Dance Pokemon, you're better off using Gyarados. If you want to forego setup and instead run an offensive item in Feraligatr, like, I don't know, Choice Band, you'd probably rather use a Azumarill. If you want a bulky water type, well, there are a ton of better options like Milotic or Gastrodon. I could go on, but you probably get the point.
Yeah.
There's really nothing that makes Feraligatr better than its peers. I guess the one thing worth mentioning is that it does get the ability Sheer Force, which in my opinion is one of the weirdest abilities in the game. Sheer Force says, hey, if this Pokemon uses a move that has some sort of secondary effect that
Forget about it.
Forget about that secondary effect and take a damage boost instead. The reason I say it's weird is that for whatever reason, it works with Life Orb. Life Orb is an item that gives all the user's moves a 30% damage increase in exchange for 10% of their max health every time they hit something. And for whatever reason, this 10% recoil effect is counted as a secondary effect for Sheer Force, meaning you keep the damage boost from Life Orb without losing any health. While this is a really great combination for Sheer Force users generally, it isn't enough to save our strong-jawed friend. Feraligatr just isn't fast or strong enough to make use of this powerful interaction. And that's probably the reason its results page looks like
Aww.
this. This is actually an identical results page to our next Pokemon, Torterra.
Another grass type. Well, grass ground. which means it's quadruple weak to ice.
A grass and ground type Pokemon that unfortunately is by far the weakest of its generation. While Infernape is fast and strong and Empoleon has a great ability and cool typing, Torterra got stuck with a quadruple weakness to ice and a great role in Detective Pikachu. Torterra is the first Pokemon on our list to actually have respectable bulk. While it isn't absurd, it is tanky enough that it should be somewhat difficult to get rid of it if you don't have the right moves. Its attack isn't good per se, but it is usable, especially since Torterra gets some high damage moves. But that's about where the good news ends. Torterra is super slow, which, like I mentioned earlier, would imply you'd prefer to use it in Trick Room. But because it isn't strong enough, you'd never use it over an actual Trick Room attacker that can, you know, do damage. With its quadruple weakness to ice and weaknesses to fire and flying, though, using it outside of Trick Room isn't much easier. In Scarlet and Violet, Torterra was given Shell Smash, a powerful move that doubles the user's speed, attack, and special attack stats. And there was talk about whether this would finally allow Torterra to, well, maybe not dominate, but at least do something. It would not.
Aww.
Unfortunately, Torterra is so slow that even doubling its speed doesn't allow it to outrun many of the faster threats in the format. Not to mention, it is so vulnerable on the turn you use Shell Smash, since the move also lowers your defenses. So despite this buff and gaining access to the powerful new move Headlong Rush, Torterra still hasn't been able to do anything. Ironically, there were a few weeks back in 2015 where Grotle, Torterra's pre-evolution, was a major threat. It was used as an endgame demon.
Oh, I like hearing about stories in like VGC and that kind of stuff where they find like really niche like use cases for like smaller, like mid-stage evolutions or like these even like smaller baby Pokemon. I like that. I think that's funny.
Using Leech Seed and Synthesis to keep itself alive as it gradually whittled opponents' teams out of HP. As a pure grass type, it doesn't have that quadruple ice weakness. And it's actually really tanky with the Eviolite item, which it can use because it isn't fully evolved. It didn't like take off or anything, and I don't think it got any like super good results, but
well, I think it's funny that they like tried it at all.
it's the only time that I can think of where anything close to Torterra was relevant. Which brings us to our final member before we talk about the 3 worst starter Pokemon of all time, Delphox. Delphox is a fire and psychic type that is one of the most forgettable starter Pokemon ever. It's designed to be a fast and strong special attacker, but it isn't fast enough or strong enough to work very well, while also not being bulky enough to do anything else.
It has higher special defense than I thought, but yeah, it has a really low HP stat.
Enough to work very well, while also not being bulky enough to do anything else.
Oh, but this one has 534 BST, like you know, a Charizard.
When Delphox released, it was one of only 2 Pokemon that could use the move Mystical Fire, a middling power move that lowers the target's special attack stat. And this move was basically the only reason you'd ever want to use Delphox. Unfortunately, Mystical Fire was changed in later games to be usable by way more Pokemon, including the #1 Pokemon in the game, taking away Delphox's only real special trick. Fire and Psychic are okay typing at least. They work together well offensively, as no type resists both Fire and Psychic, and defensively they do alright too, providing 7 resistances in exchange for 5 weaknesses. Unfortunately, Delphox's stats just aren't good enough to bring out the typing's full potential. One thing that could have saved Delphox is its hidden ability. With a great ability like Drought or Psychic Surge, it would have actually been usable.
Drought would have been really good, yeah, especially since its main point was that mystical fire.
Instead, Delphox got Magician. And if you don't know what Magician does, you aren't alone. Off the top of my head, I could not tell you with 100% certainty. After doing some research, I figured out that the way that Magician works is it allows the user to steal the item of whatever Pokemon it hits. While stealing items sounds good in theory, it only works if the user isn't holding an item. So if you want to get any value out of Magician, you either need to run no item or an item that can be consumed. If Delphox were bulkier, it could be a decent user of Citrus Berry to recover HP and then steal an item. But unfortunately, giving Delphox a citrus berry is like giving a toddler a Ferrari. It won't be able to use it very well. Your only real option is the Focus Sash, which won't even activate every battle, and even if it does, Delphox could get knocked out before it has a chance to move. If Delphox is a magician, it's like a kid who got baby's first magic kit, and they're so bad you can see exactly how they're doing the trick, but you want to encourage them, so you
can do it
amazed anyway. All right, enough talking about mid Pokemon. You didn't come here to learn about what the almost worst starter Pokemon were. You want to know about the bottom of the barrel.
The bottom.
The starter Pokemon Game Freak should issue an apology over for
Reasons for behavior. The media convinced me they were too good. I miss Incineroar too much. I was jealous of Incineroar. I didn't watch the actual games. I don't know Pokemon. Mercury was in retrograde. I hereby respect the bad starters, and I will not talk down in the future. First ballot Hall of Famer. This is a neat form.
Messing up so badly. And what better place to start our worst of the worst than with a Pokemon with 2 forms and no hope? Samurott. Samurott is a pure water type Pokemon from Unova that just sucks. It basically has everything that was wrong with Feraligatr, but it's somehow even worse. Probably
Okay, but like, I think Oshawott really cute.
the biggest issue with Samurott are its stats. It doesn't do a single thing well. It isn't strong enough to be a sweeper, it isn't bulky enough to be a tank, and it isn't fast or slow enough to be useful inside or outside of Trick Room. If you want a Pokemon to be below average at everything, Samurott is a great
I'm gonna be real, when he hit Samurott with the, he doesn't do a single thing well, and I'm like, damn, that's what my mom told me when I brought home an A still.
place to start. But stats aren't the whole story. What about Samurott's ability? Plenty of Pokemon are saved by their ability, right? Well, Samurott's ability is good in a vacuum. It's shell armor, which prevents it from getting critical hits.
That's decent.
The thing is, shell armor gets more value the tankier a Pokemon is, as they'll stick around for longer, meaning more and more potential crits get negated.
Yeah, if you're not tanky, then you can't exactly take advantage of the fact that you just won't get crit. A one-shot is still a one-shot.
Fortunately, as we've already established, Samurott isn't that bulky of a Pokemon. What about its moves? Well, they aren't bad, but they're pretty much exactly what you'd expect. It gets all the water and ice moves that come standard with your water type in the male. It doesn't have really any meaningful coverage moves outside of like Grass Knot. That's actually kind of it. It is worth noting that Samurott actually placed 3rd at the World Championships in 2011. A fact I completely forgot about until just now. This is because back in 2011, you could only use Pokemon that were catchable in Black and White's Pokedex.
Oh, okay. That does explain a lot, because I know during Gen 5 when Black and White released, a lot of NatDeck stuff was basically either non-existent because it was post-game locked. From what I can understand, you couldn't even get like a Pikachu.
And there were way fewer good water types than usual. Unfortunately, after 2011, Samurott was never seen again. But Samurott got another chance at life when the Pokemon from Legends Arceus were added to Scarlet and Violet, as Hisuian Samurott was a new take on the Narwhal. Now a water and dark type, its new stats, they're somehow even worse. It's a little stronger and faster now, but still not fast enough to outspeed anything, and they actually made it even frailer. At the very least, Hisuian Samurott's ability is better, now being Sharpness, boosting the power of specific cutting moves.
Oh, slicing moves by 50%. That's a decent amount.
By 50%, which is actually a big deal. And Hisuian Samurott gets a signature move called Ceaseless Edge, that both does damage and sets up the entry hazard spikes whenever it hits something.
I can only assume this is a slicing move, or else, I don't know, I feel like Samurott got scammed. It's gotta be.
While this is a cool move, it still hasn't
That looks like slices.
For anybody to actually use Hisuian Samurott, especially with so many better water type Pokemon available. I feel like they got so close with Hisuian Samurott with the better typing, ability, and move pool, but by changing the stats to be even worse than they already were, they've doomed it to obscurity. But obscurity would be a kindness compared to the state of our number 2 worst starter Pokemon of all time, Decidueye.
I love Rowlet. Oh, he's so round and friend shaped. And there's like not a thought baton behind those eyes most of the time. It's awesome. Decidueye's alright.
It makes me mad because design-wise, Decidueye rocks.
Yeah.
An Owl Archer, and it evolves from Rowlet, which is one of the best
Yeah!
recent gen starters in my...
Look at him! He's so round! But yeah. Like, I like the Decidueye's design, don't get me wrong. It's just that it's hard to beat Rowlet. Look at him.
My opinion. Oh, let's not talk about Dartrix. Anyway, they did Decidueye so dirty. Just like Samurott, most of the problem is with its stats. Actually, both Samurott and Decidueye have extremely similar stats. Their offensive stats are flipped but identical except for a single point, and their defenses are in roughly the same range. Decidueye is less bulky on the physical side, but maybe slightly more on the special side. And they both have the exact same speed stat. So, as you can imagine,
He's slower than I thought he would be. Like, for an owl, I thought he'd be kind of fast. You just imagine most birds are like quick, you know?
these stats are a huge problem. Grass and Ghost typing is actually pretty good as you resist a bunch of useful types and get 2 immunities, though you do have some spooky weaknesses. Overall, the typing isn't a part of the problem. The same can't be said for its ability. Decidueye gets Long Reach, which is just a total joke. Long Reach allows Decidueye's contact moves to act as if they don't make contact. If you
So, like, you can avoid contact abilities, and I think that's really it?
don't know what a contact move is, it's a special subset of moves that basically trigger specific things. Like Rocky Helmet activates when the user is hit by a contact move, same with Flame Body or Effect Spore. Basically, a contact move is a move where your Pokemon has to touch the other Pokemon, like Fire Punch or Thunder Punch or Ice Punch or Mega Punch or Comet Punch or... Actually, you get it. Anyway, this ability is completely insulting because it's basically like not having an ability. It only does anything when Decidueye 1 uses a contact move.
I feel like he won't have many contact moves, considering the entire concept of the Pokemon is an owl that's also an archer. And normally an archer doesn't walk up to their target, slap them in the face, and then stab them with an arrow. No, they shoot an arrow.
And 2, hit something that would be affected by the contact. If you're lucky, this might come up once every 5 battles, if that. And even then, dodging a single instance of a contact move rarely actually matters. It's part of the reason why the item that does exactly this has never been used competitively. Decidueye's moves are at least a little better. It gets a signature ghost move called Spirit Shackle, which traps whatever it hits until Decidueye switches out or faints. While this is a really interesting move, Decidueye just doesn't have enough going for it to make good use of it. Even a number of other useful damaging and support moves aren't enough to save Decidueye. But just like Samurott, Decidueye was given another shot at life in Legends Arceus, with its new Hisuian variant. And this new form was somehow worse than the original. Unlike Hisuian Samurott, Hisuian Decidueye stats actually got an upgrade, as it becomes slower and loses some special attack in exchange for some more bulk and a little more power in its attack stat.
A little.
But unfortunately, the new
Quadruple, weak to flying. They hate this bird. Holy shit.
grass and fighting typing is a huge downgrade. With no immunities, a quadruple weakness to flying, a new weakness to fairy, and the inability for either type to hit
They hate this bird!
flying, poison, or bug types for even neutral damage, this typing is nothing short of a disaster. And Hisuian Decidueye's signature move is, in my opinion, a downgrade. While Triple Arrows has a good base power, a heightened crit rate, a 50% chance to lower the target's defense, and a 30% chance for the target to flinch,
Those are good. I like the concept of this.
this move that would be broken on a good Pokemon is somehow mediocre.
Yeah,
The thing is, Decidueye is
Yeah. Like, that's why I said I like the concept of this. But unfortunately, we kind of saw its stats. We kind of saw its stats, so I like the concept of this move.
chance to lower the target's defense and a 30% chance for the target to flinch. This move that would be broken on a good Pokemon is somehow mediocre. The thing is, Decidueye is so slow that the flinch chance almost never comes up.
Yeah. Like, they lowered his speed stat, right? Let me go back to that. Yeah, they lowered his speed stat. 70 is already kind of slow for, like, you know, a Mon that would get that type of move. 60 is even slower. So, I don't know. It's just so awkward. Holy shit. Yeah, you're never gonna have a chance to actually use a flinch.
somehow mediocre. The thing is, Decidueye is so slow that the flinch chance almost never comes up, and it isn't able to reliably combo with the defense drop for the same reason. Hisuian Decidueye was given the ability Scrappy, which is actually good. Not only does Scrappy allow its fighting type moves to hit ghost types, it also makes it immune to Intimidate, which is an ability that is a little bit common. But despite the better ability and improved stats, Hisuian Decidueye still has too much stacked against it to ever hit the target. All right, now all that's left is to talk about the worst starter Pokemon of all time. If you skipped ahead in this video to take a cheeky peek at the #1 slot, go back to the start, watch the whole video, do not pass go, do not collect $200, and you legally have to subscribe. That's the rules. Are they gone? Okay, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say what the worst starter Pokemon of all time is.
It's a Meganium. It's a Megan.
Unfortunately, it's one of my all-time favorite starter Pokemon, Meganium. Meganium. Ugh. I love this thing because I love Chikorita as a kid.
Yeah, I think Chikorita was super cute in like the anime and that kind of stuff, but like, yeah.
But holy cow, it is so bad. It's like they designed a Pokemon with the express purpose of punishing anyone who uses it. There is one good thing I can say about Meganium, and that is that it is decently bulky. It's not like anything to write home about, but if it isn't being hit with crazy strong moves, it'll probably take 2 or 3 hits, which is better than almost anything else on this list. And that's about where the good news ends. Meganium has super low offensive stats, making it nearly impossible for it to do damage.
I like my grass dino. But the stat spread makes me upset.
And it's not very fast. As a pure grass type, it pretty much only gets access to grass type moves, but it doesn't get the broken grass attacks. No Spore.
It doesn't get the good ones. Heck you.
No Rage Powder, not even a Sleep Powder. Meganium's best moves are like Synthesis, Leech Seed. Its ability is tied to the strong sunlight weather condition, but it's not a good ability like Chlorophyll or Solar Power. Nope, Meganium gets Leaf Guard. Do y'all even know what Leaf Guard does?
I could not tell you what the fuck that does.
It stops status conditions only if the sunlight is strong.
That fucking sucks. Holy shit. That's so situational. You just need someone to set the sun for you, and then you become, I don't know, immune to status? And that's it.
No status conditions. What a miracle.
What?
In the 13 years I've been playing competitive Pokemon, not only have I never played against or seen Meganium, I've never even heard of anyone considering it. There are just so many grass types that each do unique things. Amoonguss puts Pokemon to sleep and redirects. Venusaur is a Chlorophyll Sleep Powder sweeper. Jumpluff is a support for sun teams.
Round. Red and shade. Okay, I'm sorry, continue.
Rillaboom sets grassy terrain, tanks damage, and does damage back. Wo-Chen, Ogerpon supports its team and does huge damage. And then you have Meganium, where the best thing we can say about it is maybe it'll sit in the field for a few turns. And despite being around longer than any other Pokemon on this list, Meganium's been given nothing. No regional form, no Mega Evolution, nothing.
I am watching this in 2026. The Mega Evolution part has at least changed. I am watching this in 2026. We have Legend ZA.
If you told me the developers forgot about Meganium, I'd have no choice but to believe you. Actually, it seems like they're keeping Meganium around just as a punching bag. On April Fool's Day this year, Game Freak announced that Meganium would be the next Terra Raid event. Even Game Freak thinks Meganium is a joke. But I guess the nice thing about starter Pokemon is that because they're so iconic, there's always a chance they'll be given some love in the future. Who knows? Maybe some of these Pokemon will be given a new form or a new ability, or actually, I think it's okay that some starter Pokemon are bad. Maybe they should all be bad.
Maybe they should all be bad. Incineroar in the background. All right, that was fun. Thank you guys so much for watching this video with me. That's a lot of fun. I kind of expected Meganium to be the worst starter Pokemon. Unfortunately, I think it looks cute. That's it. That's it. It's a shame that a lot of the mons were like grass type mons, because like growing up I did like the grass starters a lot, but it just makes sense defensively, they're not that great. But it's okay. I love them. Thank you guys again. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.